Good morning, digital mentors. My name is Yolanda Kennerly. I am a coach and a Digital Mentors member. And today I want to speak with you about, and I want you to engage with me because you know what? This question is a great question. What is your superpower? A lot of times we think that the thing that we got in trouble for is definitely not the thing that we want to bring out when we become an adult. And so I'm going to share with you something that happened yesterday, which was so awesome because I actually asked this question in my Facebook post. Like I did a Facebook post. And let me share with you what the question was so that way you can really kind of come with me on this little journey that I'm going to take you on in regards to like why is she talking about this today, right? Well, let me share with you what happened. Okay. And I was actually doing some, doing my um, putting my content together for the week and things like that. But something really stood out to me yesterday, and I was like, I'm going to ask this on my post to see who will respond. I got a great response. Okay, and the post, excuse me, the post is your superpower is that thing that always got you in trouble. Now, let me know, what is that one thing that always got you in trouble? Okay, the reason why I asked this is because I know that when I was in school, I mean, I'm talking about since I started school, kindergarten, all the way up until, I guess I would have to say high school because my college, they don't call your parents, right? But I remember always getting in trouble for talking too much. It wasn't that I was a bad student. I had good grades. I was not an A student. I'm not going to lie. But, I was a student that was, getting like 80s, 85s, 90s, whatever, all across the board. But for some reason, I always got in trouble for talking too much. And so even at home. I mean, my mother even named me Birdie because, birds are chirping in the morning as soon as they wake up, they're chirping away, right? And so I remember always feeling like, oh, I have to really hold my tongue. I really have to pay attention that I'm not speaking out of term or that I'm not like there was times when my mind was going. Let's say there was a conversation, my mind was going. I mean, we're talking about I'm answering all the questions, I'm engaging with the conversation, but because I had been in trouble for so long that I actually would keep that kind of hidden, my opinion, my way of thinking or whatever. I wouldn't really say too much about it because I was afraid that I was going to get in trouble or that people were going to look at me in a certain kind of way like, gosh, she talks too much, or she what is she putting in her 2 cents in here. I mean, like, those are the kind of things that would come into my mindset when I was engaged, when I was in a group of people, let's put it that way. Okay. And so that came with me through my whole young adult life. And even until I was an adult, like, I remember going to events for when I was a mortgage broker. We used to have to go to continued education, to learn all the new laws and all of that in regards to mortgages. And I remember being in the classroom because it was a classroom setting, and they would ask questions or they would start talking, and I would want to engage with the conversation, but then I would hold myself back because I would think about, well, what are they going to say, right? So yeah, sometimes our teachers, they don't really understand um how like your giftings. Okay, they really don't. I hate to say that, but I really feel like I remember one year I had really thought really about going to teachers and asking them if they wanted to learn about personalities, because the children that they have, all of them have, not all of them, but there's four personalities, and they can identify the child, and they could truly help that child, like be the best student, be the best at what they know to do, right? Because this comes natural. So your gift, your gift is a huge clue for the type of business or the kind of business that you want to grow. Now, why do I say that? Well, let me share with you something that I learned a long time ago, okay? I remember when I was learning about personalities, and I was, really learning about the humanity, like how do people work? How do they function? Right. And so I remember I had a friend of mine who was a total introvert. Okay. I would consider her a pearl. Some of you might call her a yellow. Okay. And so she was very calm, cool, and collected, loved the world, wanted to save everybody. Right. But I knew that because of her personality, that she would probably have trouble asking for the sale. Okay, like really, like, hey, putting on a scale to 1 to 10, like, where you at, right? Like, I knew that that was going to be the hiccup for her. And so I started to work with her. But one of the things that really stood out to me about her was that she was really organized. I mean, we're talking about organized. Okay, like, I would go to her house, and she would have these little plastic, those things that you put your shoes in behind the door. She would have that. And for her little girl, she had a little girl, she would have all the everything that this little girl ever needed for her school. Like, she would have her crayons, and she would have like her little pencils, and all of this. The whole thing in the back of her door was all of the things that her daughter was going to need when she came home from school, so that she wouldn't spend a lot of time running around the house, looking for the pencil, looking for the this, looking for the that, and not get her homework done. So I was like, man, that's pretty cool, right? Like, she has phenomenal, like, really putting things in place. That skill, okay? Because it is something that was just natural to her. It was just natural. It just came. Like, she would, I don't know, all these other things that she used to do. And I used to think, man, how does she function like that? Like me, not so much. Okay. Like, I have everything in place. I have things, but I don't really like go over and above to put structure. Okay, in my house, like, I know this, the towels go here, the toilet paper goes there, all of the things. My house is organized, but it's not to the point where you can open up a closet and be like, oh my gosh, this is the most gorgeous closet I have ever seen. That's not going to be the case. Okay, I don't put my clothes by colors, or my shoes by colors, or da 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 da. I don't do all of that. But she had this knack, like, it was natural for her. Okay. I had another friend that I could literally be talking to her about, let's say, numbers, money, things like that. Right. And I would say, well, this was so much. And then there was like this much discount. So I would try to think about like how much it costs. And she would be like, oh, it's this. I was like, whoa, like, she was great with numbers. Okay. Great with numbers. So I want to share with you what happened with these two ladies. Okay. The first one that I spoke about, that was had excellent, skill sets on like organization. We had been talking one day, and I said, is there any way that you can make money with this? Because I'm always thinking about how can you make money with what you already know. That's kind of like my thing. I've always been like that. Why? Because I'm bilingual. So I used to translate letters. When people bring their letters to my house, and I would translate the letter, and I would charge. I would go to closings, and I would translate the whole closing. Like, I knew that this was an asset for me. Okay. And so I asked her one day, couldn't you make money with that? So guess what she started to do? She put herself out there. She created a company, and I don't remember the name of the company, but it was all about closet organization. And let me tell you, she thrived in that, and she made so much money. She eventually got married, moved away. So I don't really know what her status is now, but what is that thing? Like, what is the thing that you used to get in trouble for that is really truly your superpower? Okay. Now, my other friend, she became An accountant, high level accountant. Why? Because she was great with numbers. She wouldn't get bored with numbers. I get bored with numbers very easily. So that is not my superpower. Now, I love to talk. I have the gift of gab, and I've said it before. And let me tell you, if somebody starts a conversation with wherever I go, I can start a conversation very easily. That's why for me, it was really simple, and not simple, I want to say easy, because I had to learn the method, okay? But it was really easy for me to start a conversation anywhere I went. So I was able to get in front of a lot of people very quickly to sponsor them into my business, right? And even now, when I go out, people ask me, what is it I do? I will share exactly what my intro says, but then I start talking about them because I know it's always all about what's in it for them, right? So I want you to discover within yourself, what is that thing that you used to get in trouble for? Because that is your superpower. A lot of times we kind of, bring, we dumb it down because we have gotten in trouble for it. Like I said, I used to get in trouble all the time for talking. Now I am the youngest of 8 children, and I'm going to tell you what, I did a lot of talking for being the youngest one in the family. I remember my siblings constantly telling me, Yolanda, be quiet. Yolanda, shut up. Yolanda, because that was my superpower. Now, let me tell you, when I really realized, excuse me, when I really realized that it was my superpower, when my mother passed away about 5 years ago now, no, 3 years ago now, sorry, 3 years ago now. And I remember they had speakers, like they had somebody that was going to say something about my mother and just share from the heart, right? And I remember standing because we were already in the cemetery, okay? And I hadn't said anything throughout the whole, a funeral or anything. And I remember standing there, all of my siblings standing like around me. It was we didn't have hardly any chairs to sit on, and so we're standing there, and my one of my brothers spoke. I think one of my mother's youngest daughter spoke, and we're just standing there, right? And then all of a sudden, my husband says, "Aren't you going to say something?" Now, my husband's an introvert, extrovert. I'm an extrovert, introvert. Okay. And so he says, "Aren't you going to say anything?" And I was like, "Oh gosh, what do I say?" Like, I wasn't really sure. So when everybody, they were kind of wrapping up, and all of a sudden, this young man says, "Is there anybody else that would like to say something about Miss Rosa?" That's my mom's name, Rosa. And I was like, "I want to share something." And so I started sharing from my heart who my mother was to me, right? And it just kind of like overtook me. Like, how sometimes when you're speaking, but you're not really sure that you're the one speaking? That's how it was. Like it was just flowing out of me, these beautiful memories that I had about my mother and all of the things that I was able to really learn from her, and, how she was such a giver, and all of these awesome things about my mother. That when I was done with, speaking those words, I literally had people clapping. And I was like, why are they clapping? you know? But because I gave my words come to me very easily, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Okay. And a lot of times when that happens, you think that that's just normal, but it's not normal for everyone. So I want you today, really today, to um, pay attention to, or maybe you can go back and think about what were those things that you used to get in trouble for? Because that is your superpower. Now, of course, if you got in trouble for, like, I have a brother, okay, one of my brothers who used to get in trouble all the time for taking things that were not his. When he was young, he used to be in trouble all the time, okay? And like he would steal pencils, he would steal, he was just a troublemaker, okay? Thank God he reformed, right? But if it's something like that, that maybe you picked up from somebody else, because those are habits that you pick up from other people, right? And so if things like that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about something that comes natural to you. Something that you're like, I could do this all day. Like I could talk all the time. And I think that's why prospecting is super simple for me, because I can talk all day long. I would rather have a conversation on Zoom with someone than to be messaging back and forth. So I immediately try to move somebody to a personal conversation with me. Okay, so I want you to look at that, but I want to read a couple of things that some of the people that responded, and I could see it in them. I could literally see like the when they gave the response. I'm like, yeah, I can see that. Okay, so let me share with you. Talking was a big one. Okay. That one was like, you attract who you are, right? You attract who you are, not who you want. Most of the people that responded here were like talking, like Yolanda, talking. I always got in trouble for talking. Okay. But there was one that really stood out to me, and I was thinking, wow, this is a really good one. And I'm glad that she really embraced who, like that's superpower of hers, because this is what she said. Okay. And if you're here, I just want to honor you with, sharing your engagement on my post. It says, I never got in trouble in school. I was a good girl. Cool, right? I would sell essays and homework packets for $10 per packet, $5 per essay page. And yes, writing is my superpower. Like, wow. Like, think about it. She came in this package already. She didn't have to go learn it. She says she never got in trouble. She was a great writer. So that was already in her. Okay. So that is the gift that keeps on giving. Think about it. She identified it, she utilized it, and now she's making money with it. So think about copywriter, right? Now, of course, with copywriting, you might have to learn some AI right now, but still, copywriting is still in great demand. So, what I'm trying to share with you today is what I'm really sharing with you, not trying to, I'm doing it, is you have what it takes already. Now, there's times when we want to, build a business that we really want to create a business that maybe is not something that's natural to us. Yes, we do have to learn some skills, definitely. And that's why Digital Mentors is here to help you with all of that. But dig deep. Okay, dig deep. Maybe you were always on timeout about it. I was always on timeout about talking too much. Always. My mother always had to go to school, and they tell her, she's a good student, but she talks a lot. And of course, with talking a lot, they want to medicate you and blase, blase, right? Which my mother never, ever did. But what I want to share is that you already have what you need to grow a business with. Like, you already have the understanding of it, you always have the knowledge of it. All you need to do is maybe sharpen that knife a little bit more, so that way you can take off with whatever it is that you want to do. Think about it. This lady, when I read that post, I'm like, oh, this is a great topic for Monday, because a lot of times we want to make our gifts like not really shine. Okay. And you should shine. I mean, you are a star, right? You do know that, right? You are a rock star. So just embrace it. So what I'm going to do now is I want to engage with you guys. Let me see what you guys are talking about over here. And let me put my fashion glasses on. These glasses are so huge. Let me see who's here. Hey, let me see who's here. Hey, Ned, nice to see you. Howdy, howdy. Hey, Denise, nice to see you. Good morning. Let's see. What did she say? No worries, happens. Yep. I'm good at writer too. Oh, good. But creative. Yes. Awesome sauce. Good morning, Dee Dee. Good morning. Hey, Robert. Good morning. What did he say? He says, tech is a challenge. Notification still working. More morning truth. Thank you. But you know what? Technology, we didn't come packaged in technology. I can tell you that. But can you believe that somebody that didn't know anything about technology now has a lot of tech savvy skills? You just learn. Okay, you learn. So that is what I wanted to share with you guys. Um, What did she say? Oh, Tanis. Okay. Thank you so much for correcting me. But I just wanted to share this with you today because I believe that you have the gift already wrapped up inside of you. And it's just a matter of time for you to just share it with the world. And remember, right now, we're in a season that's so awesome where you can literally get paid for what you know. So, like my mentor told me years ago, get paid for what you know. Okay. Didi says, I am a good communicator and inspirational, kind of techie, good at making friends. Yes, you are, Didi. All of that. And think about how much value you bring to the marketplace with all of that. And even if you just have one thing like me, like the talk, like speaking, right? Like we're a gift. We're wrapped up in a gift. All we have to do is share it with the world so that the world can be a better place because of what you have inside of you. All right. So that is what I wanted to share today. I hope that you guys got some value. But remember, be your own hero. Have a good Monday, everyone.